Hey, good morning, people. Good morning to all of my friends and all of the miracle makers out there in the world. It's day 2 of National Mentoring Month. I'm out here in my community, and I'm just going to hit you today. I want to start off today by telling a quick story before I get into how to be a value-driven mentor. So this morning, I want to tell a story about one of my mentees. His name is Devontae Rucker, and Devontae and I we met about 9 years ago. He was a 17-year-old male. He was living in the North Nashville community. And this is around the time where we were doing daily after school, not daily, but 3 days a week, we were doing after school programs, mentoring programs for, the males in the North Nashville community. And, one day Devontae strolls in, himself and another one of our guys, Michael. They strolled in and they had just found themselves in a situation where they were busted in by the police into an abandoned building where they were, think he said they were in there maybe shooting dice or something like that. So they busted in and they arrested a few people, and Devontae was one of the people who was actually let go because he was a minor. And so when he left the situation, he came to the community center where he was headed to a basketball practice. Devontae came into the room and he told us that, my coach told me that in order for me to be on the team, I need to be a part of All the King's Men, this mentoring program that we had heard about. And so Devontae came in, and instantly I knew that this is somebody that I was going to personally mentor. Now, here's the thing about me. Well, not necessarily me, but here's the thing about Devontae coming into my life. Devontae came into my life at a time in his life where he was going through an episode of something that I had already experienced. Devontae was a junior in high school, and he was expelled from high school at the time. He had got caught with a small amount of drugs in the school. And the reason that his story is so unique and so special to me is because at the same exact time period in my life, when I was 17 years old and I was a junior in high school, I too was expelled from school because I got caught with a small amount of marijuana in the school. And so Devontae came to me and he said, he had these dreams. He always wanted to, first of all, he wanted to learn more about God and learn more about, spirituality and be more involved in his spiritual life. He also wanted to go to college, but he had no idea of what he needed to do to put himself in that position to get there. And so the turning that story around and looking back, I was in the same position. I was 17 years old. I was expelled from school. I wanted to go to college. The only difference is I knew I had family members, my mother in particular, who, she had went to college, and so she knew what I needed to do to position myself to go to college. However, the story goes on. Devontae, he was in an alternative school, and I would pick him up from school every day after school because I felt that he needed that outlet. Devontae needed that outlet to let off the steam that he was, experiencing from that day and give himself a time to just be normal. And so, what's going on, Tillman and Miss Ella Faye? Good morning, my friend. I'm glad you all have joined me today. But I'm telling you a story about one of my mentees named Devontae. And so here's the story. Devontae ended up getting allowed to come back to his normal high school. He was a student at Pearl High School, so he did his 1 year suspension in the alternative school. I was picking him up from school every day. And one little funny twist in this story, I wrote about this in my book, is Devontae for a long time thought I was a police officer. He really thought that I was a police officer. And when I asked him, why'd you think I was a police officer? He said, something along the lines that no one had ever shown this amount of interest in his life without having something dodgy or some type of scheme up their sleeve. But I was just a mentor for Devontae. I was just there consistently for him. I was honest with him about everything. I told him that I'm going to be your mentor. I'm not a perfect man, but I'm going to mentor you because you are in a position that I found myself in about 10 years prior to you. And so I felt that if I didn't mentor Devontae personally, based on my own personal experience, then I would be part of the problem for his life because I was someone who could actually help him based on what I had already gone through in my life. And so it goes on. Devontae is now, he went on to graduate from high school. He actually went on and got accepted into the college of his choice, which was Tennessee State University. We got him in there, and then he spent about 2 semesters there, and then he realized that wasn't the school for him, so he transferred down to a discipleship training school down in Atlanta, Georgia, and he also enrolled in a community college where he is now a graduate. of both of those programs, and he's now married, and I'm extremely excited about him and his future with his wife and his soon-to-be family whenever they decide that it is time for them to do that. But the story here is that, what I had gone through in my life was something that positioned me to help another person who was going through the exact same thing. And when you find yourself in those types of situations where you've been expelled from school and you are around all this negativity, you tend to want to just give up and say, this is just my life, and this is the way it's going to be. But God positioned me to come into this young man's life right at a critical juncture where he needed someone to show him that even though you're in this particular situation, that doesn't mean that your life is over. And so I want to encourage you to think about your life story and think about the things that you have gone through just in a reflection. It's a new year, it's a new day, a new you, of course. And I want to invite you to spend some time just thinking about, your story, because I guarantee you somebody somewhere is waiting on your mentorship. And so, with that, I just want to encourage you real quick to go out and try to find someone to mentor, try to get into a mentorship organization where your life story can actually help someone, make it through the struggle that they have. So, now let's get into how to be a value-driven mentorship. Values are so important, especially in mentorship, and even before you put your values into your mentorship, you want to just have your own personal values in your life. And so for me, what I've done with myself and my wife, we have come up with three values that lead our everyday lives. And these three values help us make decisions in times where we may be struggling with what should we do about this certain situation, or what should we do about anything. And so what we do is we run it through our value system. And so for me at my house, my top three values along with my wife, our first value is our spirituality. We want to be a family that when we pray this prayer, we ask God to, when we leave our door every day, we pray, God, let people see you before they see us, because we're flawed people. And, we are a couple who many times people come up to us and say, we love you, you're a power couple, you just inspire us so much. And we take that responsibility very seriously. And so with our imperfections and our, the flaws that we have, we want to make sure that people are seeing God before they see us, so that we don't lead people to believe something that's not true. And so that's our number one value, spirituality. And then we go down to our family. There's nothing more important than spending time with our family, not just spending time being around, being in the house, but we want to spend that quality time not only with each other so that we can keep our marriage fresh, but we also have a daughter now. We want to make sure that we are spending time with our daughter, taking her to the park, bringing her out here, having a good time, and just making sure that we are showing her what family means, even at her young age. She's only 1 year old, but we're showing her that there is nothing that should come before family outside of our spirituality. And so we start off our value system with our spirituality, and then we have our family as our second value. And then that third value that we have is our work ethic. We believe in working hard. We work very hard all throughout the year. My wife and I are both entrepreneurs, and being an entrepreneur, it's not as easy as it may be to have a full-time job. For me, I've been a full-time entrepreneur now. This will be my 10th year, um, specifically working with all the King's Men. And I've been an entrepreneur, most of my life. I remember growing up, my mom would always tell me, Eric, you're going to be an entrepreneur because you're stubborn and you don't like anyone to tell you what to do. And, I have to admit that is me. But, it's that very quality that puts me in a position to be who I am today. And so those are my top three values, myself and my wife, as a collective unit. And so spirituality, family, and work ethic. And so those are my values. And so yesterday I asked you to think about what are your top three values that you can model in a mentorship relationship. If you go to my website right now, go to ericdkpark.com, and if you join my list, I'm going to send you a mentor readiness guide. And the first thing we're going to be talking about as you prepare to become a mentor is your values. What are your values? What are the top three values that you can take into a mentorship relationship and model for your mentee? There's so many people that are mentors. There's thousands of people that are mentors. And I think some of them just go into it and say, well, I'm just going to be here and we're going to hang out and we're going to, play with these kids. We're just going to have fun, right? But you need to use that time a little bit more intentional by being a model for the things that you value in your life. If there's anything that your mentee can gain from you, is to know that you are a value-driven person. And what that does, it in turn turns them into a value-driven person. And so you have this strong relationship that started based on your values, and you're going to be an example for those values. And along the way, you can help your mentee discover what their top values might be, so that they can become a value-driven person. And remember what I said yesterday: when you are in this mentorship relationship and you are modeling your values, you have to be mindful that every mentorship plants the seed for the next mentorship. And those values that you share with your mentee are the seeds of mentorship. And those seeds will grow, they will harvest, and they will grow, and they will sprout, and they will be with that person forever. You know, when I'm doing my mentor trainings, a part of the training is we go back in time and we reflect on a person who was like a mentor to us. And we get their face in our mind, and we think of their name, and we spend a minute just thinking about that relationship. And then we begin to write down the top things that we took from that person. You know, hard work. They always encouraged me. They were always challenging me. Those are the types of things that I hear. And those are values. Those are values that that person brought to the mentorship relationship, whether they knew it or not. But those are the values, or I want to call those are the seeds that were planted based on that mentorship relationship. And guess what? 20, 30 years later, when I ask these mentors, you know, these are adults that I'm training, you know, 50, 60-year-old adults, and all in between. And they realize that, yeah, this stuff was really important to me. And so I use that whole exercise to prove that mentorship lasts forever. A good mentorship lasts forever. And I think it starts when the mentor goes into that relationship and they are driven by their values. That's going to be it for me today. I just wanted to spend a few minutes with you this morning. I'm about to go get a run in. Been out doing some work this morning, just doing some praying and thinking. And I wanted to share with you about how to be a value-driven mentor. And so again, if you go to my website, ericdkpark.com, go there right now. As soon as you get to my site, you're going to see a tab where you can join me. Join today, and I'm going to send you a mentor readiness guide. And in that guide, I'm going to help you walk through a process to help you outline what your top 3 values are that you can bring into a mentorship relationship. I hope you're having a great year so far. It's only 2 days so far into the year, and some of us have already messed it up. You know, we're already saying, all right, 2018 is going to be my year. I've already messed up my resolutions for this year, but 2018, I promise you, that's going to be my year. Well, hopefully that's not you, and hopefully you're having a great time. It's National Mentoring Month, and so today we went over how to be a value-driven mentor. Discover your top 3 values and bring those top 3 values into your mentorship relationship and model those values as much as you can. And you want to do it in a subtle way. You don't want to go and beat your mentee over the head with what's important to you, but you just want to model it. You should be living this out to where they should just be able to see you and see that, hey, this person values these things. And so, again, go to my website. I have a free download waiting on you. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about the mentor forecast. So many times. I mean, I hear this almost every single time I do a training. I'm worried about the time commitment that it takes to be a mentor. So tomorrow I'm going to be addressing the time commitment for a new mentor. And I'm going to be also giving you another free download. I'm going to give you what I call the mentor forecast. Just like the weather, your mentorship needs to be forecasted in the future. And, well, maybe like a good weatherman or a good weather forecast, your mentor forecast does need to be somewhat reliable. So that's going to be it for me today. I hope you are having a great day. So far off to a good morning. Be sure to go to my site, ericdkpark.com. Join that list. You know, I am on a personal mission to get 1,000. I want to connect with 1,000 mentors this year. 1,000 mentors this year. So go to my website, join that list. I'm going to be giving out a lot of cool free stuff, a lot of great discounts to a lot of the things I have coming out. You can go on there today and get the Mentor Readiness Guide, which is what we're going to spend this whole week talking about. And we're going to pick it up tomorrow by talking about how to forecast your mentorship. Hey, I'm Eric Capehart. I am your expert mentor. And as always, happy mentoring.